So it seems like the go-to narrative nowadays when you go to buy a house is you go buy a starter house, and then your family's going to expand and you're going to outgrow that pretty quickly. You know this going into it. So in other words, it's essentially a waste of time and a risk of money. The reason being is because you could actually use and buy another type of house that's actually going to pay you, and you won't have to sell it when that time comes to upgrade into a bigger house because of that expanding family. Now this is looking at an investment property for your first house instead of a starter house. I feel like a lot of people just automatically think that real estate investing is this category that's in a place where only like older, rich people invest in because they've made so much money in another field that they're just trying to diversify their investments, so they go and buy a bunch of real estate. But that's not really the case. And I want to work on changing this narrative because too many people get caught up in wanting to buy this single family as their first house. And trust me, I get it. You want to get that achievement of home ownership, that privacy of having a single family house, and just the freedom to do whatever you want because you finally have a house to yourself. But believe it or not, this could actually be the best time for you to take advantage and invest in real estate for the cheapest amount of money you're ever going to be able to do it for. So I'm going to go over 3 reasons why that is in this video, and hopefully give you at least something to think about and chew on, and maybe it'll skew your decision on if you want to go buy a single family as a starter house or if you go buy an investment property for your starter house. So let's get into it right now. So reason number 1 for this is simple. This is going to be the cheapest time ever for you to actually be able to invest in real estate. Now, I know that sounds probably a little bit weird and you're wondering why that is. Well, as a first-time home buyer, you have options that investors just do not have options to invest using that type of loan product. Because for you, you can get into a house as a first-time home buyer for as little as, well, technically 0% down, but those are kind of hard to work with sometimes. They're usually for VAs or USDA loans, which are in more rural areas, which could be hard to find a multifamily. But you still have access to a 3.5% FHA loan, owner-occupied, or an owner-occupied conventional loan, which requires about 5% down. Now this is going to be a way lower cost of entry rather than if you were an investor spot and you're just buying an investment property. You're going to have to come up with at least 20% down and closing costs. So this can add up very quickly and become a substantial cost just like that. So this would be the best time and the cheapest time you'll ever be able to get into an investment property. And if you were in that investor's position, you're going to have to be able to qualify to actually get a second mortgage because you have to actually show that you can pay for that second mortgage. So this is going to be the cheapest time that you'll ever be able to get an investment property. And as a first-time home buyer, again, you could even get some state programs if you qualify to help with your down payment. So it could even lower that cost more. Reason number 2. This one's pretty simple. You're already used to shared living spaces. I'm assuming since you don't have a house, you're living somehow. Either you're living in an apartment where you're sharing the building, you're living with your parents where you're sharing the space pretty close together. Maybe you just got out of college where you were living in dorms and houses with other roommates. Whatever the case may be, my guess is that you're sharing a house right now. So instead of going out and really getting that dream of wanting a single family house, why don't you go and invest, sacrifice your comfort a little bit longer, but the reason you're sacrificing your comfort is because you're investing in your future and you're not going to regret it if you don't sell the property, because essentially you'll just be able to have this property even when you move and go up into a new house. So I know this sounds like a bummer for some people who just want that single family house. They want to go out in the country, maybe have some land and just get a little bit more remote. But if you make this investment, it could be huge for your financial future. And one little tip for you, for someone who's done this 2 times already, as a landlord, the owner of the property, always pick the upstairs unit because you don't have to put up with people being loud above you, and the tenants can't kick you out for being loud. So it's probably your best bet if you're not wanting to hear a bunch of footsteps over you, because I have been in the bottom unit and I'd much rather the upstairs unit. Reason number 3 for looking at investment property for your first house is you are buying a new stream of income. Now this is the part that I personally love, and I don't think people grasp what is happening enough. You're essentially buying a new stream of income for as long as you hold on to that property and keep it as a rental, okay? So for example, my first property, I put $5,000 down. Under $5,000 technically. I'm still cash flowing on that property 4 years later. I only put $5,000 down. Yes, there's maintenance and all that, but you're buying a stream of income. I don't think people grasp that because that is huge, especially to set you up for your financial future. For example, the average cost of rent, this is kind of on the low side, is about $1,500 where I am, okay? So even if you buy a duplex, 2 units for your first property, once you move out, you're gonna have $3,000 a month coming into you every single month. Now, yes, you have to pay the mortgage. Yes, you have expenses. Yes, you have to live there a year before actually moving on. And yes, you have to take care of tenants. But tell me what other place that you can go buy a stream of income. A bank's gonna give you a loan so that you can hold on to that and make that yours. And you get to get paid monthly, keep the profit, and just pay the bank little chunks each month for 30 years. There's not many new streams of income you can just go and purchase like that. So that's why I harp on this so hard, because it is literally almost mind-blowing that you can go buy a business essentially with having a bank give you a loan for it. And honestly, if you buy the right property, even if you pay all your expenses, all that hassle, some people call it, I just call it business expenses, you should, if you purchase correctly with like a duplex, you should, once you move out, be able to cash flow $800 to $1,000 if you purchase correctly. Now again, this is where you would have to set your standards, go down the hole of how to run numbers, all that stuff. I have a bunch of videos on that, my little playlist on real estate investing. You can go, feel free to watch that. Super helpful. But that's where you kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the rental stuff. So with that being said, are you ready to start looking at multifamily investment properties for your first house? Because if this didn't convince you that it's a good idea to at least entertain the idea, I don't know what else I can tell you. I really don't. I mean, I don't even think I mentioned you're cutting your expense you're cutting your housing expense at least in half because you're going to be bringing in rental income while living there. So I found this when I was 19 years old and I bought my first house at 20. And what I didn't get was when I was looking for single family's house, I was 19, I didn't have a ton of income and I had a truck payment. My budget was very small. I was looking at crappy single family houses. I'm like, I don't want to spend money on a house that I don't even like. So then I really dove into multifamily investing, try to figure it all out, and it started making sense. The other thing is, once you go look at multifamily properties, the lender that you use is going to be able to use future income from your rental. So each month that income coming in to help you qualify for a loan. So that means if you're looking at single family, you might only be able to afford X, where if you look at multifamily, you'll be able to afford a little bit more because you're going to have that income that's going to come in when you purchase a property, if that makes sense. So not only are you buying a new stream of income, you're also helping with the housing issue, letting people rent your house, and you're also going to be, again, helping your financial future because you're going to have that new stream of income paying you for as long as you hold the property. And I didn't even really mention all the stress and all the relief that this helps when you're actually living at the property. Because essentially for me, when I was living at my first house hack, I think I was paying about $250 a month towards living expenses for my house. The average cost of rent's like $1,500. So I'm saving $1,250 because I bought that house. So you're essentially buying a house and you get to keep more of your money. It's literally like, I don't know. If this isn't convincing you, I don't know what else will. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. And if this added any value to you, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you next week.